Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a facts-only video. It's December the 11th, middle of the day here on the East Coast. For those of you asking, yes, I did make it home safely, traveling from the West Coast late last night. Don't feel the best, but no way can we miss this facts only. As you saw in the thumbnail, we're talking about peace. There's a lot of talks right now, talks about peace. We're seeing Donald Trump, Macron, Zelenskyy, Yermak, Podolyak, Zakharova, Solovyov, Semyon, Putin, Lavrov. There's so much happening. And then when you connect with it, the fall of Syria, which is connected deeply with Ukraine and Russia, more so than the world knows, look for that video coming in another facts only, hopefully in a few hours from now. But right now, I want to clarify the peace views from the Ukrainian viewpoint. Everything I'm going to share with you now are facts, videos, and quotes. Thank you for being here and thank you for supporting. Here we go. Let's jump in. So the question is, what about peace? Here's what I can tell you. Viktor Orban has communicated with Donald Trump, and Viktor Orban has communicated with Vladimir Putin. In fact, this tweet directly from Orban, I had an hour-long phone conversation this morning with President Putin. These are the most dangerous weeks of the Russia-Ukraine war. We are taking every possible diplomatic step to argue in favor of a ceasefire and peace talks. Now, I will tell you right now, there are rampant reports, American media, European media, even inside Ukraine, expecting another Oreshnik hypersonic missile attack on Ukraine over the next few days. At this point, we can't call it a fact, but lots are talking about it. And if you speculate just a moment in the facts only video where Orban said these are the most dangerous weeks, maybe there's possibility that there was talk between Putin and he during this conversation. Now, of course, let me explain to you how the Kremlin works. The Kremlin will not allow another nation to give its narrative. It will not allow Viktor Orban. It will not allow Lukashenko, Trump, Zelenskyy, or anybody. They give their own report. Therefore, this is what happened. There was a press conference. It came from Zakharova. I'll show you her picture in just a moment. She is the press media relations for the Foreign Ministry Department, one of the three authorized government people to speak for Russia. There's only three: Vladimir Putin, Sergei Lavrov, and Zakharova. Those are facts, not even Medvedev or the talking heads. They work in partnership with the Kremlin, but officially it's those three, according to the Kremlin. What was stated? It's interesting, the Russian view. Orban called Putin. We did not call him. That's very important for them, that narcissistic dictatorship view. What was discussed? Bilateral trade and economic cooperation and further mutual projects in the energy sector. No mention of Ukraine yet. Then, Ukraine was discussed. Orban expressed interest in facilitating, he wants to be the mediator, a joint resolution due to his contacts with a number of Western leaders. Let's make it very simple. Not a number of Western leaders. Orban and Trump have a friendly relationship. I almost was going to call them buddies, but I want to make sure this is a facts only video. They have a friendly relationship. It's not about Western European leaders. It's about Donald Trump and Orban wanting to stick his nose right into the middle. Of course, he supports himself and he supports the Russian empire. That's been blatantly obvious over the last couple of years. And now he's saying, I can be the mediator. Vladimir Putin assessed Ukrainian developments and reiterated the destructive Kyiv regime who blocks all possibilities of a peaceful resolution of the conflict. Remember, this is the Russian report. This goes right back even to parallel with what Orban said here in his tweet. The coming weeks will be the most dangerous. Then the warnings of the hypersonic Oreshnik possible launch over the next few days. And this is from Russia. Vladimir Putin assessed Ukrainian developments and reiterated the destructive Kyiv regime, who blocks all possibilities of a peaceful resolution of the conflict. Then finally, Syria was discussed and the potential fallout. Guys, Syria will continue to play a role, even in the fallout situation in this war in Ukraine. We will talk more about that later. Ukraine was involved in the Syrian overthrow. That's a fact. We'll share it later on a different video. What about peace? These are some words from Andrei Yermak. Let's go to the Ukrainian now. Yermak is the big guy that walks around and partners and works out of the president's office there. There's a picture of Donald Trump, Macron, and Zelenskyy. Why is that picture there? Because they're shaking hands. This picture was on purpose. They're shaking hands. Trump, this is from Yermak, emphasized that his goal is to achieve a just peace. Yermak commented on Zelensky's meeting with Trump in Paris. The president-elect, Donald Trump, emphasized that it is absolutely impossible for the United States to support a dictatorship in today's world, quote from Andrei Yermak. Listen to that again. The president-elect emphasized that it is absolutely impossible for the United States to support a dictatorship, Vladimir Putin, in today's world. What will that mean? We shall see. It's only December the 11th. Yermak clearly stated that the meeting and handshakes, I told you, the handshakes between Trump, Macron, and Zelenskyy is a, underlined here for you, direct statement against Russian propaganda, which claims that Ukraine does not want peace. That is a fact. Even Zelenskyy speaks about this, saying, Russia is the one pushing the narrative. Russia is pushing the propaganda. Russia, the Kremlin, the propagandist, the foreign ministry office, that we do not want peace. We want peace, but we want a just peace. We want our territorial integrity. We want our people. We want security guarantees. Russia, Putin flips that and says, Ukraine doesn't want peace. All Ukraine requires is a restoration of international law, security, and our territorial integrity. Is that too much to ask for? No, that is what the information coming in from Yermak. Now let's go to Podolyak. Guys, facts only. This is Podolyak. Ukraine is really ready for negotiations with Russia. This is mirroring the exact statements of Volodymyr Zelenskyy. I remind you that Podolyak is the advisor to the head of president's office. Ukraine is really ready for negotiations with Russia, but we will demand fair conditions. What are the fair conditions? It's easy, guys, right back here. Territorial integrity, security, international law. Zelenskyy even directly speaks about the return of our people. It's tough. Let's just be honest. Right now, we're struggling on the southern front in Pokrovsk and Kharkov big time. I repeat, this is Podolyak speaking. Currently, there is no official proposal to end the war. I have a video clip here from Podolyak speaking. Here he is. Listen for yourself. Facts only.
Once again, Russia thinks it must, I keep stressing this, Russia believes it needs to humiliate not Ukraine, as Ukraine's been resisting for 3 years. It's a different situation now. For Russia, it's crucial to remain a global player in humiliating not the EU, but specifically the US. So for Russia, it's important that this war freezes on Putin's terms, not on Trump's hypothetical scenario. If we're talking about Ukraine's foreign partners or opponents, Zelensky's scenario is optimal based on international law. It clearly states what we want, which is crucial not just for Ukraine, but for all countries wanting to stay within international legal frameworks. Now, Putin's scenario is different. It's another humiliation, damaging Western nations' reputation, especially the US. This new Putin fixation is why he keeps raising stakes. Will Trump respond? Likely. Should Ukraine join talks with our partners? Absolutely. Public discussions are one thing, but explaining what Russia truly wants from this war beyond impunity is another.
Guys, there you have it. Don't take it from me. Take it directly from Podolyak. Let me summarize it. You're not going to talk about ending the war if we're not invited to the talks. So Donald Trump and Putin and Orban and Erdogan, you're just not going to talk about us and figure out for us. We will be there. We know the situation. We know how to deal with Putin. Putin reading between the lines here, already huge egg on his face with the fallout of Syria. Once again, Syria coming into it. And he didn't quote Syria specifically, but that's what he's talking about. And he says Putin's not going to have that again. He doesn't worry about the EU. He wants to have this face and this deal and this public persona with Donald Trump, with the United States, and then it trickles down to the rest of the world. This is where we are currently at, and that is directly out of the mouth, translated perfectly, Office of President Podolyak. This actually mirrors what I will close this facts only video with Zelensky's statements coming up in just a moment. Now, let's continue on. What about peace? We then, after that, get a direct quote and press conference from Zakharova. This is Zakharova. I know you've seen her picture. Maybe you do not know the name. She is the third most qualified person to officially speak for Russian positions, given the authority out of the foreign minister's office with Lavrov and ultimately the dictator Putin. Russia will analyze Trump's proposals on Ukraine, but this does not mean they are supported. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Russian Federation, Zakharova. I reiterate, she said, to study does not mean to agree. Up to this point, Russia has not seen constructive proposals from Trump for the settlement of the war in Ukraine that would meet our interest. Guys, that's the Kellogg plan. That's the plan that would freeze the lines and bring in peacekeepers and the removal of the demonization of Vladimir Putin and the removal of sanctions. These are the parts of the United States plan that is being talked about. And this is what Ukraine says. You're not going to have that plan without us at the table. And Russia now saying, up to this point, Russia has not seen constructive proposals from Trump. Only the implementation of Putin's proposals, taking into account the realities on the ground, can put an end to the conflict. Let me repeat that again. Make sure you understand it. What about peace? Only the implementation of Putin's proposals, taking into account the realities on the ground. That is why Russia is pushing so hard on Pokrovsk, on Kharkov, on Kursk, that region where they're trying to expel the Ukrainian soldiers, on Kupiansk. They're pushing Chasiv Yar, Toretsk, the entire front line. We will look at closer on a live. Make sure you tune in for that. Only the implementation of Putin's proposals, taking into account the realities on the ground, can put an end to the conflict. Zelenskyy. What about peace? What does Zelenskyy say? This is what I close with. It is absolutely clear that in order to achieve real peace and guaranteed security, American determination, European unity, and determination are needed. It is not necessary to play on one's image at the expense of unity. Direct reference to Donald Trump. It is not necessary to play on one's own image at the expense of unity. One must take care of joint success, meaning not American success only, not European success only, but Ukrainian success. He states, unity in Europe always brings success. Talks about a war against Ukraine, which Russia is waging, cannot take place without Ukraine. That is not possible. Reiterating what Podolyak said on the video I played for you, facts only. You will not talk about the end of the war in Ukraine if Ukraine is not at the table. He then stated, I am grateful to President Trump and the many leaders of Europe with whom we are already working together to find the right and strong solutions for real peace. There is hope that Trump and his administration will be able to achieve peace through force. Ukrainians believe him. I want to reiterate that statement one last time as I close out this facts on the video. Yermak stated, and I didn't put it in the slide, but Yermak stated directly, we are already working with Trump's team. Interesting. No work going on with Biden's team. That relationship between Zelenskyy and Biden, reported on many places, is souring, mobilization, conflicts, all of that. Not talking about that right now. But President-elect Trump coming in January 20th, Yermak says our teams are working together. We are hearing good information. Zelenskyy says today, there is hope that Trump and his administration will be able to achieve peace through force. And that is what Zelenskyy has stated for years. Peace through strength. Zelenskyy closed his statements today and said, Ukrainians believe him. That's where we're at, guys. Facts only, up to the minute about peace. A lot of messages out there, a lot of media out there today about peace. But these are the facts where we're at. The war is raging hotter than ever on the entire front line, and we are under the possibility of another Oreshnik attack with closed airspace going on over the next 3 days in certain fly zones of Ukraine and outside of Ukrainian Russian territory. So will that take us to another level? Of course it will, but we won't talk about it until it happens. This is Facts Only. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing. Appreciate all of you. Be blessed.